Calm down.
Okay, we're live.
Perfect.
Oh God.
Woo, yeah.
Welcome everybody to another lovely edition of Whiskey Kilo. Let's get this intro music going.
You are listening to the Whiskey Kilo podcast live.
Thank you, Morgan Freeman.
Well, glad to see everybody made it back this week, and we got a very special guest this week. We got Dan W4WWF. Hey, Dan.
Good evening, everybody.
And as usual, we got the usual suspects. We got John W4JDM.
Good evening.
And we got Kent Kilo Oscar 4 Tango Whiskey Yankee.
Hola.
And then myself, Tony, Whiskey 1 Victor Sierra. Want to thank everybody for making it back. And how's everybody been?
Been doing good. Do we have anybody in the chat tonight here?
I haven't seen anything on the chat yet, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm probably looking in the wrong spot.
You are.
It wouldn't surprise
Things are
me
great. So, no, I want to hear about you guys. Wasn't it a contest week or something?
Yes, it was. And John, I think, might have been the only one that participated in that. I kind of did by accident, but I'll tell you that story here in a second. John, why don't you tell us what happened with the event this weekend?
So I competed in my first HF contest and didn't really plan on it. I was going to make some contacts before the contests. I don't know if people realize or not, but if you want some really good DX contacts, if you get on the radio a day or two before the contest starts, you can get a lot of good DX contacts because they're setting up their equipment and they're testing and they're doing all sorts of stuff. So if you want to get some good DX contacts but don't necessarily want to be in the contest, that's a good way to go about it. And I was on Friday and I was just going to get some contacts, and then all of a sudden I realized that the contest started. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just sign up for the contest on World Radio League and give it a shot. So I worked for 2.5 hours, got, I think I had 50 contacts in the first 2.5 hours. Kind of got tired. After that and decided not to try to get as many contacts as I could, but got to about 9 or 10 o'clock and was like, all right, I'm going to pack it in. But I did that. And then today I jumped on for a couple hours, got another 75 contacts. I think I ended up with a total of 127 contacts. And definitely.
Would you give us your rankings from the World Radio League? I'd really like to hear that. I'm super interested in that.
So that's nice. Tony loves the World Radio League. Let's see, contests. Understand the World Radio League rankings are only based on what the people that actually entered the contest. Let's see. Nope, that's not there. I can't get to that. I think the last time I checked, I was like ranked 22nd.
That's pretty good out of the 40 people that are on that website.
Tony just wanted to say that. That's the only reason why I asked that question. I believe there was like 600 and some odd people that had signed up on World Radio League, and I was like 22nd when I stopped 3 hours prior to the contest finishing. So it was fun. I had a good time. It was a good experience. I got some good experience. It was a lot of fun.
A little taste of doing the contesting.
Yeah.
Would you think it's going to be a bug that you're going to enjoy doing going forward, or no?
I definitely will do it again. I could see myself doing it more often.
Does it help having 2.10 gigawatts of power?
Yes,
Like,
it does. It does. I don't have that much power, but it does help to have some.
Were you running power? I didn't even ask that question. That's a
Oh
great
yeah,
question. Yeah.
yeah. I was running 1,000 watts
All
pretty
right.
consistently.
Well, so my one contact by accident was yesterday. We had a little meet up at Bledsoe Creek State Park. We had about 7 or 8 people show up, and we were activating the park and showing some new guys how to set up a station and activate POTA. And we were standing there and in front of a radio, and Brian had his radio tuned to 40 meters, and he and I were having a conversation, and I could hear something in the background. It was a really loud station, and I heard him just say CQ in their call sign. And so I grabbed the microphone and answered. Come to find out, it was K3LR, that huge station up there from the guy Tim that owns DX Engineering. It was his station, his contest station. But after the fact, I realized they were looking for a Canadian station. So, whoops, sorry about that. My bad. I guess next time I should listen a little bit more before I just grab the microphone and jump on there. But I did make that one contact. So that was my one contact on the for the contest, I guess. Kent, how did you do in the contest?
Yeah, Kent, how'd you do?
I did great, man.
Because I heard 10 meters was bustling and hustling and bustling.
Yeah.
So you could have definitely jumped on there and made some
You-
contacts.
You could have worked it 28.3 to 28.5. You'd been fine.
Mm-hmm. I didn't. Sorry.
Oh,
I
man.
knew there was a contest. Hey, but some of us have a lot of stuff going on. I didn't sit around. Let's put it that way.
I heard a rumor that somebody came by and fixed your antenna.
Yes.
It was not the antenna, just
What was
FYI.
Let's get an update on that. We haven't.
Tony fix it. So somewhere down the line, I must have done a factory reset on my radio. And so when the antenna broke and everything, I didn't think to go in and look because, the last time I was on the radio before the antenna broke, I was doing fine. Well, it turns out, I guess somewhere down the line, I factory reset the radio. So none of my tones were programmed or anything like that. So Tony, God bless him, he took it easy on me. I told him specifically, I said, if you tell John why this was, I'll kill you. And so, see, he that's a good friend. He didn't tell me.
He didn't tell me. I thought you actually had equipment issues with your antenna and your coax.
I thought I did. I thought I like I said. So my antenna broke. When I got the new antenna, I just plugged everything back in. I checked all my coax, and I just assumed everything would be working again because it was working when it broke, when the storm took the antenna out. But a lot of things, happened during the day. I guess somewhere down the line, maybe I was troubleshooting it and reset the radio to factory, and I didn't have any of the tones programmed.
The good news, it's fixed now, and he downloaded the RT system software, and we quickly put in. You've got probably 40, 50 repeaters in there now. All of Robertson County, all of Davidson County, and all of Sumner County's repeaters from the repeater book are now in his radio, ready to rock and roll.
So there should be no excuse. We should hear you on the repeaters.
So when he doesn't show up for your net, you understand it's not because I didn't go help fix it.
Right?
Yeah. Now remember, the net starts. Yeah, the net starts while I'm at band practice, so it's kind of tough to.
Which band?
Rush on.
The first band or the second band or the third band?
I only really am in one band. The second thing, that's for my mom. That's a.
And there's also the cigar box. So that's 3. There's 3.
I'm in the band that's actively trying to make money. That band is the one I'm talking about.
And they're going on tour.
I'd skip the other bands. Sorta. We got 2 offers today. We got I was informed that we got 2 offers yesterday for a festival next year in California. So
Awesome. That is
that'll be
fantastic.
good. Yeah.
Dan,
So
Dan,
did you do any radio this weekend?
No, don't really get into contesting. I was speaking with John earlier, and I only do one a year, and that's 13 colonies, and that's just a lot of fun for me. But no, the only thing I did this weekend with radio is troubleshoot my APRS digipeater. Uh, I learned a lesson, and I think that kind of goes with what John was saying, is that you don't do any upgrades to anything a week before your event. So I learned a lesson: no software upgrades to anything before within a week of your event that you're going to use it on. So that's a good that's good advice to live on.
Well, speaking of events, why don't you tell us about the one you just had that just finished up?
Gravel Revival. So Gravel Revival kind of sounds like you go out and have an old-fashioned revival, but it's actually a bike event held in Hickman County, near Centerville, Pleasant View, and this was the sixth year. And a lot of the different bike events that at least in Middle Tennessee we have Jack and Back and Big Hill Challenge and all that. So Gravel Revival is anywhere from an 11-mile to 100-mile course on chert, gravel, trails, dry creek beds, almost anything but hard surfaces. And it's really become a popular thing in the country in the last 5 years. There's more and more gravel bike events taking place. This is the sixth year we've had. The event had 600 people sign up from 23 different states, which is fantastic. How fast it's grown in the last 5 years. And so we had that event out in rural Hickman County, and we were talking about how we become complacent, those of us who all live in a cement city, where we can do almost any event with an HT. And when you get out to your rural counties, and it doesn't matter if it's Tennessee or anywhere else, you have a whole new group of challenges. Hickman County has only 2 reachable repeaters, and the good one was down for the whole week. So that presented some challenges, and we had some first-time volunteers show up with just HT, and that was my fault because I've been doing Gravel Revival since year one, and I've kind of gotten used to the challenges and didn't relay those challenges to our new volunteers. But it's a lot of fun. Uh, it's a great event to support. But with any of these events that we do, any organization does, whether it's a parade support or bike support or anything else, you know, the true, it's a both organizations get something out of it. The organization that you're providing the service to, but we get a lot of out of it because it's a sneaky way to get amateur radio people to practice getting and operating their gear in austere conditions. And austere doesn't have to mean out in the middle of nowhere. You could be out doing a parade with an HT when you're not in your comfortable ham shack with your air conditioning blowing down on you and 1.2 gigawatts of power. So it's great to get different events like that and get people out because it gets you out of your complacency and say, yeah, I'm ready for anything. So
Well, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And John, you helped out this year, right, John?
Yeah, it was my first time volunteering, and I was a SAG vehicle, so I got to follow the last couple riders and stop and help people that maybe had an injury or had a bike that crashed or needed repair or had a flat. I probably picked up. I probably had 5 or 6 people throughout the course of the day, and 2 guys.
Did you run over anybody?
Did not run over anybody. I almost ran over one guy, but that's a different story. I had probably 2 guys that were pretty banged up that I had to bring back to the first aid tent, and it was interesting. It was a very, I'll say, kind of eye-opening event for me. I enjoyed it. I had a good time, and I learned a lot, and definitely would be a little bit more prepared for a couple different things for next year. When I
Download the
help out.
maps. Download the maps before you
Download
go.
the maps. That's right.
Yeah, there's no internet, no cell
Yeah.
phone service where we are operating at. So it's great to get first time people out there, because it gets you prepared and gets you to rethink your position on readiness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool.
Sounds fun.
I probably would download the maps and either work with them on GIA or Google Maps or something. But basically, a majority of the course is over some Forest Service roads. I was pretty lucky. I didn't have any major issues with my vehicle other than it just got dirty a lot. But I had a good time, had fun, had some time out there on the trails, which I kind of missed from my overlanding days, which I don't do anymore because I spent all my money on ham radio equipment. But it was a good time.
It's a beautiful part of the country, of the state this time of year.
Yeah.
The colors are in full bloom, and it gets us out of our, like say, our cement cities and see the beauty of nature out there for sure.
I came around a corner. I was going through these trails, and I came around this corner, and they're not really trails, but this Forest Service road, this dirt road. I come around the corner, and just kind of this open pasture and this farm, and then we end up in this kind of a holler, and then there's some farms, and there's a Amish family just sitting there going down the road in their buggy, and so you're in the middle of it, and there's a whole Amish family that was out there filling up a cooler full of water that was coming out of the ground. They had a well pump, and they were filling a cooler full of water and taking it back to their house. So it's definitely a stark contrast from living in the Nashville metro area.
I did SAG one time, and the biggest obstacles I ran into were cows in the road. And they were just, standing there. I gave them a little toot of my horn, and they just looked at me like, yeah, this is our road, buddy. So.
Well, cool. That's great. That's awesome. It was a good event. I think y'all didn't have too much as far as injuries, so everybody survived the weekend.
And that's
John finally washed his car. So.
And like John said, it's a whole different scenario setup. When somebody falls off their bike, they're getting road rash immediately because just of the service they're on. So there's no skin knee. No, you're coming back with a half pound of gravel in your knees and legs. And, generally if you're falling off your bike, there's a really good chance your bike is not rideable anymore. So it's a lot of fun.
And surprisingly enough, there was most of the bikes that I saw weren't like mountain bikes. These were like street, like what you'd consider like a road racing bike that had knobby tires on them.
Yeah, and the price tag is 5 figures. Yeah.
Yeah, I was at Cumberland Transit, I think is the name of it, downtown on West End. Yeah. We were killing some time Friday night before we went to the women's volleyball game, and we stopped in there. And I looked at it just walking by, glancing at a couple of those bicycles. The first one I seen was $5,000. I was like, whoa, I don't even want to breathe on this thing. I was like, that's insane.
That's a cheap one.
Yeah. It really
it's insane for a radio operator who's got you're probably looking at $5,000 just right now.
Yeah, most of those bikes starts at 10 and go up.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But the Cumberland Transit people are really good. They sponsor a bike ride that's held in very early spring called Gosh Darn. And that's gosh darn is a nice way of what people say when they fall off their bikes. Right. So, yeah.
So speaking of events, we recently had an event this month, and it was the co-op. We had our co-op picnic, and first of all, I want to thank anyone and everyone who came out and helped supporting us. I think it was a fantastic show of support from all of the clubs. We had members from all of the different clubs that are in the co-op show up and check it out and give presentations and just support everybody. And I want to thank everybody. I want to thank our sponsors. We had great sponsors this year. For it being the first year, I think it was a great time for everybody. We had some really good prizes for people, and I want to thank John especially because he pretty much made this thing happen. I gave a couple of good ideas, but he did all the work. I guarantee that. And
Well, it was a team effort. There was a lot of people that helped out. A lot of people got involved. There was a lot of people that helped do things that, I couldn't find the time to do. We had had 2 or 3 different people that were finding sponsors, getting, raffle prizes and things. We had, a lot of people that donated. We had some local people that donated our grand prize, and Jeff gave us this great antenna. It was a flagpole HOA HF antenna and an antenna tuner, and he donated that. He's already committed to donate a prize for next year's event, so really excited about that. And there was a lot of people that helped out. I mean, Dan was on the committee, and we went and we walked the site, tried to figure everything out. I mean, there was a lot of people that threw it together. All I did was facilitated people the opportunity to make it happen, and it was because of those people that helped out that really made it happen. I just kind of herded cats for the most part.
Who donated the fishing lures as a prize? That's
I don't. Let's see. I'd have to go back and look at the emails, but we did have someone that donated all those lures. We had a fishing pole that was donated.
Custom fishing pole.
Custom fishing pole.
nice.
Custom made knife.
Yep. Some great prizes.
Yeah, it's really good.
DX Engineering gift certificates. We had ARRL gift certificates. I mean, all sorts of stuff.
N3FJP, DigiRig.
Yep.
Like a ton of really good sponsors. Like I said, especially for the first year, I think it was wonderful. And like I said, John did an excellent job of like he said, herding cats. And,
so John, what we may have people watching this that's first time they're hearing about the ham co-op. Do you want to give just a real quick rundown what the ham co-op is and how to find it?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing to do is if you want to find out about the ham co-op, go to hamcoop.com. Thank you, Dan, for picking up that domain and setting up that website. And you can get a little information about the ham co-op there. You can also get the calendar for all of the events for all of the clubs that take part in the ham co-op throughout the northern Middle Tennessee area. There's 7 clubs total now that participate. We're waiting to get 2 of the 7. We're waiting to get their events on the calendar, but we're slowly getting all the events on the calendar. And the co-op basically is a group of ham clubs that are sharing events, sharing resources from the way of teaching programs and members, actually, with the other clubs. So that way we are increasing the opportunities for ham operators, such as Kent and Tony and everybody else here, to participate in events, just like Dan's event that we mentioned, the Gravel Revival. If we didn't have the ham co-op, I may not have known about that Gravel Revival, and I would not have participated. So by sharing those events with each other's clubs, we're able to recruit, I'll just say, for lack of a better term, participants to help out with that event, or to participate, or to even, just understand or know or spread the word about those events. So it's really based on a social aspect of ham clubs, and making sure that we all know who each other are. Number one, if there's anything that bad happens and we have any emergencies, we know who the players are in those other counties, in those other clubs that we may need to call upon, or that may need to call upon us. But it is basically a social organization that allows clubs to share its resources with each other. That's the easiest way.
Cool. And how was the turnout?
I think it was really good. When John and I first were talking about the idea, we were discussing it and thinking about how many people might show up, and I basically told him, if more than 10 people, the 10 people that are probably going to be helping us put it together and doing presentations show up, it would be a really good day. And by my estimation, we had to be around 100 people, if I had to guess. So I think it was a great turnout. Like I said, we had members from all the different clubs that are represented in the co-op, and Kent, you were there. What did you think of it? What was your thoughts?
I enjoyed it. I wish you would have contacted satellite, done some satellite stuff, but
You mean you wish he would have had the right information?
yeah,
I
yeah.
I take blame
I
for that, but I went on AMSAT on Friday and found what they said was going to be a 86-degree pass or 56-degree pass at that time, and I called John, and John was gracious enough to move the entire calendar around to get me my time slot, and then come to find out it was only a 15-degree pass, and should have waited till 3 o'clock, and which was actually a 56-degree pass. So it is what it is. I mean, I didn't make a contact, but I did get to show everybody what the station will do, answered a ton of questions, hopefully spark some curiosity from people, and maybe people will get try to get involved with satellite radio. So
Very, very impressive setup that you had there for sure, Tony. It was. I wish I could have spent a little more time down there messing with that stuff, and that was really, really impressive. Great stuff.
You were too busy. You were too busy riding around the golf cart trying to run over my cones.
I was gonna say. But John,
we almost set you up for that. We almost got you good on that one, though.
I told Tony afterwards that he's not smart enough because he wore a headset, right? He's got the fancy headset. And I said, nobody could hear you. Why didn't you just fake a contact? Everybody would have been tremendously happy, but he had the headset on and everything, and he's like, sorry, I don't make. I said, man, I got to teach you how to act a little bit. He could have really gotten excited.
Yeah, I definitely learned some things for sure. We were talking earlier before the podcast about the different things that we learned and what we would do different for next year. And I think next year will be even bigger success than this year was. It would surprise me if we double it next year.
Yeah,
as far as attendance.
I think next year if we can get a balloon launch, that would be really good too.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be real cool.
That's just something that clubs don't normally do. People, people see. So,
Dan, what did you think of the co-op picnic? Did you what were your thoughts?
I was the same way with y'all. If we had more than the number of people that involved show up, we had great weather. The location couldn't be beat. We were in a city ballpark kind of community park area. We had all the room that we needed, and for the first time event, you got nowhere to go but up. But I was surprised at how many people did come. I was surprised at how much chatter there was on the different nets leading up the weeks leading up to it, and I think everybody who came had a very positive opinion of it. I don't want to call it, a ham quest, ham fest, ham anything. It's a sharing of ideas and meeting other hams in the area and other counties. We talked about John. Well, one of the first things John says, I don't want this to get too big too fast. And, we did throttle, the amount of clubs. But I think, for clubs, that are outlying on the border of Kentucky or Alabama, take this model and start your own ham co-op for the surrounding counties in your area. You don't have to join ours, because then it's kind of diluting the whole purpose of just trying to create a organization around your general area. So take this idea, take this as a framework, and start your own ham co-op in your areas and clubs. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah, and it's grown quicker than I thought it would, and that's okay, because that's what the area demanded. If it was up to me, we'd still be 2 or 3 clubs, and it'd be a little easier to manage. But there's been such positive response, and people want it. They want to be a part of it. So
Yep.
it moved a little quicker than I
every
wanted.
Every time we went and did a presentation, me and John went and did a presentation at any of the clubs. I mean, we go in just to give them the information of what's going on, and we have yet to leave a club meeting when we do that where they've already voted to accept it. I mean, overwhelmingly. I mean, it's been nothing but positive response from the word go. Everybody that hears about it wants to be involved with it, and that's great. I think it's outstanding. And I think Dan said this when we were talking earlier. Because of the co-op, you probably had a few more people, volunteers, than you would have otherwise. And I think that's going to be the way going forward with any and all events in our area, because like John said, I mean, with the calendar, anybody, you don't even have to be a part of the co-op. Any person, any ham, you don't even have to be a ham. Any person can go online and see what's going on in the Middle Tennessee area and get involved if they so choose. You can get involved with a net. You can get involved with a meeting, with an event, anything. It's all on there, and all the information you need about it is on there. And I think it's a wonderful thing. And it has grown a little faster than we thought it was going to, but I'm fine with that. I'm good with it. John knows I'm like, come everybody, let's bring everybody in. I'm good with it. And Brian, you're right. It was awesome to see the kids out there doing the fox hunt. That was really cool. And I believe Jason KM4ACK did a video on the young gentleman that found both of the foxes. And unfortunately, it's not doing so good on the YouTubes, and that's terrible. I wish people would check it out, because I think it was a really good,
You brought up a good point. You don't even have to be a ham if you want to learn. If you want to ask questions, how do I get involved? How do I get my ham license? Events like that, are the place to come. You can ask. One of the things that we tried to do, I believe, John, is ask an Elmer, tent. But we'll get there. But you could have asked anybody there, how do you get involved with ham radio, and you would have gotten plenty of answers. But it's just not ham radio, to get involved. One of the things we did with Gravel Revival is the staff, because it's a wide open, spread out area. The staff wanted us to try and come up with a way for them to have communications between the event people. And, we ended up, doing GMRS for them. So it's just not amateur radio. It's communications, and it's a great, like John said, the whole idea is to share resources and ideas, and to meet other fellow hams. Those of us in large cities and stuff, we do a lot of community service events. We've got that experience where some of these clubs are out in rural, areas, rural counties, who have no events.
Yeah.
So there's no need for them to reinvent the wheel. Ask. Probably one of the cities, one of the clubs that we've got probably has an answer for you. So it's really a great idea. And that's why I suggest, if you're watching, if you hear about this, hey, our club's, down on the border, how do we join? Start your own. And you would be surprised how fast it can grow your amateur radio presence in your area.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
Like I said, I think, and I'd be willing to talk to anybody, and I'm sure John would be as well, if anybody had any questions, I mean, on how to get one started. You could contact either one of us, and, we would be happy to sit down and talk to you and tell you what we did and how we went about it and everything. And it's not hard. I mean, because if he and I did it, I mean, anybody can do it. I'm just saying. So, and like I said, as usual, a lot of the ideas come from me, but a lot of the action comes from John. Because the thing is, if you ever need a great idea, you contact me. You ever need it executed, contact John or Kent, because I'm not your guy. I'm not an execution guy. I'm only the idea guy.
Did you see how big Kent's eyes got there for a minute there when you said that? His eyes got like
Well, that's because
Huge.
he was dozing off. You said his name. He's like, what?
Uh,
Dan, did you get all your HTs back?
Yes, I did. Yep, we gave them.
Oh.
We gave them. We gave the staff 7 HT radios for GRMS, and it worked very well for them. Being in a wooded area, I thought they might get a mile, but we definitely hit 2+ miles, which is more than what they needed. But it was great, and so we don't limit them. You know, Amateur radio can be limiting because of the license requirements and stuff like that. But we did find other things to make it happen. So, and those are just ideas, things that we can share in a co-op. Um, to other counties who may be doing their first parade. So it's a great thing, and I don't want to exclude anybody, by telling them start your own. We don't want you start your own club or start your own ham co-op, and that's just because of physicality. You want your co-op to be, a group, a cluster around your area, and it does nobody any good by getting a county who's halfway across the state into a co-op where we are, because you're so far out, and it would only be a disservice to you and to us you know to try and make that work. And you would get a lot better response starting one in yourself, one in your area. Did I say something funny?
No, I'm laughing at the chat. Brian asked John what percent of my ideas did he manage to bring to life, and John said 2 out of 5. And what I was going to tell Brian is it's because the other 3 were so harebrained schemes that
I,
they weren't even worth looking at.
I think you found your special guest for next week's broadcast is Brian. He'll bring in the East Coast crowd, with
Yeah.
his.
Different Brian.
Different
Oh.
Brian.
Brian. Yeah.
Sorry, different Brian.
So, hey, John, did you count your raffle tickets?
Yeah, we did. We had some that kind of disappeared throughout the course of the drawings towards the end, so we can't really gauge the raffle tickets to really determine how many people we had. And not everyone got a raffle ticket, as we were made painfully aware by some people. So unfortunately, we didn't. Everyone didn't get a ticket. And
No comment. No comment. No comment.
But for the most part, I think we captured probably 3/4 of the total attendance by way of raffle tickets. So we probably had about 75, anywhere between 65 and 80 tickets, I think, in there was what I counted.
And there was quite a few people that I know that would show up, and I would ask them, because I was kind of at the entrance where they put me as far away from everybody as they possibly could, without pushing me out into the street, I think. But it's okay. I was fine with that. I was good with it.
They didn't take them. Some people wouldn't take a raffle. Oh,
yeah, some people would. I'm just looking around, or I'm not going to be here very long, which was fine. No harm, no foul. But there were, I've probably seen at least 15 people who declined to even take one, and then there were some other people who just didn't take one for whatever reason. So yeah, I do think we were definitely right at 100 or so.
Yeah, easy. Because I was one of the people that didn't get a ticket.
Yeah, well,
I
got a ticket,
anything, but still,
I got a ticket, and I did win. I was a winner.
Fishing lures.
I did not.
Some fishing lures, and that's great for a person who's been trying to fish and never can catch a fish. But that's a whole another story.
Yeah, I did not. I did not get a ticket, and I did not win. But I was there and had a great time, and that's all that mattered.
I just got a text message. I just got a text message from Rick. Him and Teresa were there, and Teresa actually was the one. They're watching tonight. Teresa was the one who won the grand prize.
That's right.
I can't wait to see some pictures of that flagpole up at the house. So,
yeah,
Rick, we need to see those pictures as soon as possible. I know our the name of our podcast tonight is Lollygag, but we don't need you lollygagging around to get that done. So
that's a great segue into the flagpole. It's HOA friendly and stuff like that. It's a great segue into reminding people to contact their senators and congressmen to get this HOA bill, Amateur Radio Emergency Preparedness Act, passed.
Yep.
You can find out more information just by going to arrl.org. They've got such an easy process. You literally click on the link and you enter your call sign. It pops up, verifies your address. It finds who your congressmen are automatically. All you have to do is say, yep, this is correct. You push the button and ARRL will automatically send them the letters for you. It takes 10 seconds. And
we talked about it last month, and hopefully everybody has done that. If not, please definitely go out there. I mean, I'm thankful that I don't live in an HOA. I don't know that I ever will live in another HOA. I did not have a very pleasant experience with my former HOA. So I don't ever plan on being in that position again. But I know there are a ton of people that are out there that are in that position and are very limited on what they can do as far as antennas. And it's terrible, because the thing's going to be when the poop does hit the fan, those are the people that you want in your neighborhood, because those are the people that are going to be able to get communications out when nobody else can. So, and if you restrict them forever and don't give them the ability to have that antenna up, and then something happens, they may or may not get that antenna up at that point. So
because if SHTF hits, you're not jumping in your car trying to make it to the clubhouse or the EOC or anywhere else. You're going to be operating out of your house. That's where your whole gear is. Yep. So,
well, just like when I did the CERT program out of Davidson County, I mean, that was one of the first things that they told us. We're teaching you this. We're giving you these skills and this skill set to use for, first of all, for yourself, your family, your community, and your employer. So this is not, like you said, we're not going to run down to the EOC. You need to take care of your immediate situation, whether you're at home or at work or whatever it is. That's where you need to use those skills at. So, like Dan said, we might not be able to get to the clubhouse where we have a very nice setup. There might be, the roads might be completely shut down. We can't get to that point or whatever. And so if you got the equipment there at your house, you're much more likely to be able to get that information out to the people that need it, So definitely, if you haven't taken the time, please, it's literally less than a minute. It'll take you longer to type arrl.org than it will for you to get on there and actually send that over to your congressman. And hopefully we can get that passed.
So
when they come back to work.
Yeah, when they come back to work. One thing I want to remind you guys is the current, if this legislation doesn't get through, just remember the current provisions that are in place is, and this is countrywide, the current legislation that we have in place says that your HOA has to work with you within reason. Okay. So that means there's a compromise there. So if you're ever in a situation where you're trying to put up an antenna, the first thing I'm going to recommend to you is that you submit a written request, follow the rules that they have in place. They like that when you follow the rules, and tell them what you're proposing, and you submit it to their review board. Normally, if there's an architectural review board for some of these HOAs, and make reference to the current legislation or whatever legislation's in place after this thing passes, and say that you want to do this, and if you're reasonable with them and you say this is what we want to do, and you work with them, they'll work with you. 9 times out of 10, they will work with you. Now, that doesn't mean they're gonna let you put up a 250-foot tower with quad beams and all this stuff, but they will work with you to be able to give you an ability to do some of that emergency communications. It doesn't take much to be as effective as you need to be to make that happen. So my advice is to work with your HOA, no matter the legislation, to try to get them to be happy with what you're trying to do, because no one wants to be in an uncomfortable situation. And it's better to be proactive and initiate a conversation with them before they initiate a conversation with you. So that's my advice. And I'm telling you this from someone who doesn't live in an HOA, but lives with a wife who manages HOAs. So that's just a little bit of advice.
Good deal.
Does anybody
That's good
here
advice.
live in an HOA? I know Kent's not in one. Are you in one, Dan?
Yeah.
Have you ever had any issues with anything that you've put up at your house?
So luckily, I live in what's called an old HOA, and I think I'm speaking in generalities. I think you have much easier route in an old HOA because the houses, everything's just older, right? Um, I think it's the newer HOAs, the newer houses that may experience, difficulty with. But I will not say, well, I guess you can look up where I live, but I've had a 16-foot UHF VHF antenna mounted on my chimney since I got my license, and nobody's even noticed it because of where it's placed. It's at the back end of the house, not towards the front end of the house along the street. You'd have to stop at an angle of my house and look back to try and find it. It's pretty well hidden. So no, I haven't had anything. My biggest issue with the HOA is I got a letter saying my red flag on my mailbox was broke.
Yeah. Well, I had lots of issues with my HOA.
Yeah.
We had a gentleman who was retired and had nothing better to do than ride around the neighborhood with his camera, snapping pictures all day long. I I remember when we first moved in there, we used to get a city paper on Wednesdays, and I didn't get home from work until after 6 o'clock. And I got a letter one time in the mail saying that I needed to keep my driveway free of clutter. And the picture was of the city paper, and luckily they had timestamps on there. And the timestamp was at 5:07 p.m. I had not even gotten home from work. It was on a Wednesday. It was the day it was delivered. At 5:07 p.m., I had not even gotten home from work yet, and they're snapping pictures telling me that I need to keep my driveway, free of clutter. So yeah, it was it was one thing after another with
by
those
no
guys.
means by no means am I offering legal advice, and I'm not a lawyer, but a lot of those HOA documents, if he's going to cite you for clutter, it has to define what clutter is specifically.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then go away. But anyway, that's not legal advice. So what's coming up for the clubs, for the ham co-op clubs, for events coming up here?
We've got Sumner County has a parade in November, the Veterans Day Parade. I believe that's our next event. Do you know the date on that, John? I've got the calendar up here. I can actually look. Let's go to November.
The 8th, maybe? The 9th? It's the 9th. It's the 9th because I come back the 10th. Yeah.
I've been labeled an outlaw.
An outlaw, that's right. Yeah, I believe it's the 9th of November.
Yes, it is Sunday, November the 9th, the Hendersonville Veterans Day Parade, Memorial Park, 151 East Main Street, Hendersonville, approximately 1 till 3 o'clock. So anybody that wants to help with that, let us know. And we're always looking for more volunteers, always. Kent, we might even round you up. You might have to skip practice on that day. We'll drag you out to the park.
That practice is not till 3:30. So
see, that's perfect. And you'll already be in Hendersonville. So you'll literally be, within 30 minutes of the practice facility. So, yeah, go ahead and put that on your calendar. Put that in ink pen. We don't want that in pencil.
And there's a question in the chat.
Yeah, Brian. So if you go check out the calendar on hamcoop.com, or you can check the Sumner County page or the Nashville Amateur Radio Club page. They all have the calendars on there. And or Wilson County,
or Stones River,
or Stones River. Like I believe all of the clubs have the calendar, or at least a link to the calendar on their club website. So any of those avenues will get you there. Pull the calendar of events up. Literally click on the that date. I can share my screen. Let's do that. Here we go. We're doing. Here we go.
Going
share
out on a
screen.
limb.
Oh, you know it.
If the screen goes dark and gets disconnected, all the viewers, you'll know why. Yeah.
Yeah. Tony's in control.
There we go. Look at this. This is going to work. I'm going to make this happen. Maybe.
Is it though?
Says it. Add it to the stage. Here we go. It's coming
Hey,
up.
what do you?
Come on. I think I
It's
can. I
working.
think I can.
Yeah, you
There we
got
go.
it.
So yeah, so like I said, you come over here. I'll back up. So you see here on the calendar, we got Hendersonville Veterans Day Parade. You click on it, and then there you go. There's all the information right there, Brian. You can email the Aries at sumnerradio.org for more information.
Click
And
more details. Click.
even more details. Look at here. Now let's see
I
what
think
happens.
it just opens up the same details, just in a separate page.
What?
Yeah, that's not.
John,
Yeah.
you pushing the envelope. Tony was good enough to get the one
Yeah.
screen up. Don't be asking to push details.
Oh man.
Don't push that
Yeah.
button.
The long story
Yeah.
short is you can get a hold of Tony and
Yeah.
he'll set you up.
You can email November Golf to Sierra at Sumner, SUMNER, radio.org. That's Brian's email, and he loves it when I give out his email, but that's his email address. And he's our Aries coordinator. He's one of our 2 Aries coordinators. And email him, and he'll get you on the schedule. He'll get you somewhere.
Any other events coming up before the end of the year on the calendar?
Yeah, we have a Christmas parade as well in Hendersonville that we're doing. I believe Stones River has a parade that they're doing.
Murfreesboro. Yeah.
Murfreesboro, that's right. So there's a bunch of things that are coming up. Probably a little bit too much to mention here tonight in the next 9 minutes. So plenty of stuff there. You can always tune into the weekend wind down that takes place on the W4LKZ repeater system on Sunday nights at 6 for the weekend wind down and the calendar of events. And we'll talk about each week's events that are upcoming. So,
I just wanted to say, if you've never volunteered for an event before because you didn't think that you knew how or what or how the event goes, just volunteer. We will pair you up with somebody who's done the event before. We're not going to throw you out in the middle of a street with a yellow flag all by yourself or something. No. You don't have to be at any of the events. Just let the person know, hey, this is my first time doing it, and they will pair you up with an experienced operator. So,
but if you get paired up with John, get paired up with John, ask for another partner. Just saying.
Well, no, because you get to ride around in his cart. So,
yeah.
Sure.
Or you want to say something down there, Kent?
No.
He said, "This is being recorded. I'm not saying anything."
No. I'm not saying anything.
This will be here forever. No, you can't deny this. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us. We had a whopping, I think 5 people watching us right now. Oh, looky there. There's
what's
the newest.
What's the dog's name?
Her name is Phoebe.
Oh, hi, Phoebe. Meow, meow.
Phoebe's a rock star.
Phoebe goes to all the events. My last little girl who passed away earlier this year, she attended all the club events. In fact, she attended more events than a lot of the club members did. So bring your dog, bring your she was at Gravel Revival and Jack and Back, and she had a great time. So awesome. You will have, I guarantee, any of these events, you'll have a lot of fun and maybe even learn something. Yeah.
And here's the other thing too, and this is one of the reasons why I got involved with Gravel Revival is, having just coming off of the ham co-op and feeling, like trying to run that and work with everyone to get that event to happen. I wanted to go do some ham stuff where I was just a volunteer, where I could just go and do radio stuff. And that is important. I mean, those are the reasons why, if you're involved in a club and you're very busy and you're doing a lot of club stuff, and you're trying to host these events or do things for your club or whatever, you kind of owe it to yourself to take a back seat for a neighboring club event and do that event as a volunteer. I usually learn a lot, and you see how other people run events. And at the end of the day, the best part about it is you just get to be a radio operator. You can just enjoy.
You get to play radio.
Exactly. And I had a great time doing that, and I want to thank Dan for letting me volunteer and help out, and look forward to doing it again at the next one.
Yeah, anytime you can play radio is a good day. You know, yesterday we went out to like I said, Bledsoe Creek, and played radio and had a great time. I activated the park again, and we had a couple of people that had never. Brian was there, and he was 0 for 2 in trying to activate parks, and he actually got an activation yesterday. So I told him, I said, well, hell, you're 1 for 3 now. You're 33%. Those are Hall of Fame numbers as far as I'm concerned. So that was pretty cool. And then we had Paul come out. He's a new ham, just got his upgraded to his general license, and it was his first time out in the park. He had just purchased an HF radio earlier in the week and just built his first wire antenna and threw it up in the tree, and we got it up and running, and yeah, it was great. And he made a few contacts. I don't know that he actually got it activated, but I don't think that was his goal for the day yesterday. I think it was more just a learning experience and figuring out how to set everything up and how to what to do for Parks on the Air. Finding the websites and getting yourself spotted and all that kind of stuff. So it was a good day. We had a great time, and it was fun. Like I said, anytime I can get out and do anything ham related, it's a really good day for me.
Did you go to Chattanooga, to Mont Eagle?
I did not. What do they say about best laid plans? So I had a very ambitious plan for yesterday. I was gonna be up at 5:30, go eat breakfast with these morons up there. I don't know why we got to be there at 5:30, but this is the way it is, I guess. And then I was planning on leaving there at 6:30, heading down to Mont Eagle and activating that new park. What is it? Head of the Crow? Is that the name? Head of the Crow, I think is the name of the new park.
Yep.
And then I was going to try to do that real quick, and then I was going to make it back for Bledsoe. We were meeting at 11 at Bledsoe, and then I didn't wake up until about 6:40, and so that kind of threw my whole thing into a tailspin. So I showed up for breakfast about 2 hours late. They were pretty much finishing up breakfast, and I just didn't make it down there, unfortunately. But there's always next weekend. There's always next Saturday. So, all right. Anybody got anything else before we shut this thing down?
I'll never eat breakfast at 5:30, by the way. General, extra. If that's part of it, you'll never see me eating breakfast at.
It's the funny part about it is it sounds super early, but
it is it doesn't sound super early. It's early, very early.
Kent, there's some of the guys that meet us for breakfast actually end up eating like cheeseburgers and like full-on lunch meals rather than breakfast.
You guys are all single, or your wives hate you. Either one.
Well, there's probably some truth to that. But we're there at 5:30 because they open at 5:30. I'm sure if they opened at 4:30.
Yeah,
one of those dinglings that we go meet and have breakfast with would want to be there at 4:30.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, at 5:30 and 8 seconds, if they don't have the lights on and the door unlocked, there are people knocking on the window.
Yeah,
that is no joke. That is no joke whatsoever. I have seen them physically knock on the window because it was 10 seconds after 5:30, and they're knocking on the window. And Brian just made a comment. He made his first HF and POTA hunt contact yesterday at the park. Congratulations, Brian. That was pretty awesome.
Way to go, Brian.
And the only thing that's crazier than what Tony just said about those guys knocking on the windows is the fact that I get up and drive 40 minutes to get there to do that.
Yeah.
That's
John's got the longest drive. Mine's only about 25 minutes to get there. Well, see, look, John, you could just swing by Kent's house because Kent's in between you and.
Yeah, I could.
You'll get shot. You swing by Kent's house. I have a get shot between anytime before 8 o'clock. you're getting a shotgun. Yeah, do never show up at my house unless
right.
it's if it's an emergency and you're bleeding or something like that. You come, but yeah, don't ever come by here.
Hey, Dan, thanks for being on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you,
thanks,
Dan.
Dan.
Absolutely,
We
had a
appreciate
good
it.
time.
It's always good to have Dan around. Dan's a great guy. I love listening to him. You're so much more interesting than these other two dudes in this thing. You're articulate. You make, your sentences go together. They make sense. It's coherent.
I don't slur my words.